we are going to discuss another topic in unit 1, that is coalition politics in India, and this is also a part of your chapter number 2. So, this is also related to political parties and party system and also one party dominance system. So, you can say that this chapter coalition politics in India is an extension of this party system chapter. So, this coalition chapter needs special emphasis because it is a new chapter and most of you are not acquainted with the concept of what is coalition and why this term is used in politics and so forth. So, here I am going to explain different themes in this chapter. So, first of all I will explain you the meaning and nature of coalition politics. तेणु ये मेंट राजनीति बा मिलित राजनीति से विषय रे आज मु तुमको एक्सप्लेन बुझेकरी कहबी से फास्ट जिनस मु कहबी जे कोआलिशन बा मिलित बा मेंट राजनीतिर अर्थ कौन आ तार प्रकृति कौन. सेकेंड जिनस मु कहबी जे थियोरीज ऑफ कोआलिशन पॉलिटिक्स बा मिलित राजनीतिर कौन सब सिद्धांत रही मतवाद रही. थर्ड जिनस होची जे काइंड्स ऑफ कोआलिशन फॉर्मेशन केते प्रकार मिलित बा मेंट हो पारिबो. फोर्थ जिनस होची रीजन्स फॉर फोर्थ जिनस होची कोआलिशन एक्सपीरियंस इन इंडिया. भारत रे मिलित राजनीतिर कौन सब अभिज्ञता रही 1952 मसीह आज पर्यंत. तापरे फोर्थ हला जे रीजन्स फॉर कोआलिशन फॉर्मेशन कहीं मिलित सरकार बा मिलित राजनीति रो जुग आरंभ होईची. तापरे अनदर थीम इज इम्पैक्ट ऑफ कोआलिशंस ऑन इंडियन पॉलिटिक्स. भारत रे कोआलिशन बा मिलित राजनीतिर कौन प्रभाव रही किसी भल प्रभाव रही कि कुप्रभाव रही से विषय आलोचना करिया. आ लास्ट को मु कहबी जे हाउ टू स्ट्रेंथन कोआलिशन पॉलिटिक्स इन इंडिया. तेणु मिलित राजनीति को केमती आहरी शक्तिशाली करा जाई पारिबो. तेणु ये बहुत जिनस आलोचना करिया पूर्वरु मु खाली गोटे स्लाइड देखेबी. से स्लाइडटा टी भल कि देखिबे सेटा हला एई स्लाइडटा देख भल कि एतरे गोटे जिनस मार्क करिवो जे लिखाई 6 प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स इन 9 इयर्स. तेणु भारत में बहुत प्रधानमंत्री को देखीचे किंतु जवाहरलाल नेहरू को आरंभ करी आज नरेंद्र मोदी पर्यंत. किंतु तमें हुए तो जानिले आश्चर्य हम जे 1989 रु 1998 तमाने विदिन द स्पान ऑफ 9 इयर्स India had experienced as many as 6 prime ministers. That actually give you a background knowledge of how coalitions are unstable, how coalitions create political instability in the country. तेणु देश में केमती राजनीतिक अस्थिरता सृष्टि हुए विभिन्न बहुत लोक प्रधानमंत्री होकरी जाती से सब विषय तुम गोटे बैकग्राउंड नॉलेज पाई मुझे स्लाइडटा कली. सो आम देखुचे इन 1996 sorry in 1989 VP Singh was the prime minister. Then in 1990 Chandrasekhar became the prime minister. In 1991 PV Narasimha Rao and he continued for 5 years. In 1996 for 13 days Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the prime minister. Again his government collapsed. Then HD Devegowda became the prime minister. He continued for less than 1 year. Then IK Gujral, Indra Kumar Gujral became the prime minister and he continued for half a year. So, this shows that how many prime ministers India has experienced due to this coalition politics. तेणु ये गोटे बैकग्राउंड नॉलेज रे आमे आरंभ करिबा जे फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल लेट अस डिफाइन व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ कोalition and what are the nature of coalition. So, what is the meaning of coalition? So, first of all remember one thing that coalitions or coalition politics is the defining feature of a multi-party system. तो आम जो बहुदलीय व्यवस्था कथा कहूचे से बहुदलीय व्यवस्थार गोटे मुख्य आधार है मिलित राजनीति. कहीं ना बहुदलीय व्यवस्था कौन एक निर्दिष्ट दल को संख्यागरिष्ठता मिली न थाए. तेणु जेकोसी गोटे सरकार तो गठन हम ताल से सरकार केमिति गठन हम से लगी किछि दल परस्पर भितर हाथ मिली से माने एक सरकार गठन करती आमे ताकू मेंट सरकार बा मिलित सरकार बोली कहूचे. सो व्हेयर एवर देयर इज ए मल्टीपार्टी सिस्टम देयर इज द पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ coalition government and coalition politics must be there. Second thing is that the term coalition has been derived from the Latin word coalition. So Latin word be saman, coalition, and in Latin the coalition means to grow or to go together, to go or to grow together, that means to develop together, तो माने एकत्र होइकरी आमे आगु को बढ़िबा। तेणु एकत्र होइकरी आगु को बढ़िया अर्थ जणे तो आगु को बढ़िबनी से समस्त को नेइकरी आगु को बढ़िबो। सो हियर coalitions signifies that if two or more groups they unite, they can go together and they can also grow together, and simultaneously the country can also develop. So that is a positive interpretation of what coalition stands for. So coalition here implies that the basic objective is to unite different groups so that they can grow together. So, but in political science we define coalition as an alliance or temporary union between various political groups for the exercise or control of political power. So, here under coalition there is an alliance between or among different political groups. So, why they unite together? They unite together for exercise or control of political power, because they want to enjoy power, they want to form the government, they want to run the country. So, for that purpose they have been united. So, coalition is nothing but an alliance of different groups. And Professor Ogg, he is a renowned figure in comparative politics. Professor Ogg defines coalitions as cooperative arrangements under which distinct political parties or at all events members of such parties unite to form a government or ministry. So, Professor Ogg को भाषा रे मेंटर सरकार मेंटर राजनीति बा मिलित सरकार बा मिलित राजनीति होउची एक सहयोगमूलक एक व्यवस्था जो कि विभिन्न वर्गर बा विभिन्न राजनीतिक दल मिसिकिरी से माने सरकार बा मंत्रिमंडल गठन करिथांती। तो ये प्रश्न आसूची काहेकि मिसिकिरी गठन करिवे, एथिले मिसिकिरी एथिले गठन करिवे जेहेतु एक बहुदलीय व्यवस्था यह देखा जाए। So, as I told you that it is a defining feature of a multi-party system, therefore, two or more parties they join hands and form the coalition. So, why coalitions appear? So, in order to answer that question, you have to take into account two important factors. First is that coalitions occur under two circumstances. The first circumstances is that coalitions occur when no political party gets majority after election. So, after election is over, when no political party can form the government on its own, it can form a coalition with the help of other political parties. So, that is number one condition. Number two condition is that coalitions also take place in the event of national crisis or national emergency. तेणु कौन से एक निर्दिष्ट दल यदि संख्यागरिष्ठता न पाए ताहले सी अन्य दल सहित मिसिकिरी एक कोआलिशन बा मिलित सरकार गठन करि पारे। नहेले आ गोटे उपाय होची जे जदि कौन से एक देश रे एक संकट सृष्टि होतो, युद्ध हो कौन से एक संकट सृष्टि होतो सेतबेले मध्ये मिलित सरकार मिलित राजनीतिर युग सृष्टि हुए। And another thing you must remember that coalitions are not unique to India. Coalitions are a worldwide phenomenon. So, in many countries in the world, as many as 50 countries in the world, they have experienced coalition system, and many developed countries like countries in Europe like France or Germany, Norway, Sweden. So, many developed countries, African countries, Asian countries, even Australia, New Zealand, they have all experienced coalition politics. So, it is not a new phenomenon, it is not a unique phenomenon to India. तो ये भारत पर केवल प्रযোज्य बोले आम कहीपर ना, यह विभिन्न देश में देखा जाए। जदि आम गोटे कंपेरेटिव आसेसमेंट करवा बहुत मुझे तो कहली 50 टारू अधिक देश में मिलित सरकार रही, किंतु जदि तार किसी बछा बछा कंट्री को आम नवा ताल देखिए ऑस्ट्रेलिया रे, इन ऑस्ट्रेलिया देयर इज ए 4 पार्टी कोआलिशन, 4टा दल मिसिकी जे सरकार चली। यहाँ जहाँ फिगर देखुच स्लाइड रे सेटा एबेका फिगर वर्तमान। जदि आम न्यूजीलैंड रे देखिबा 3 पार्टीज आर देयर, 3टा दल मिसिकी सेठी सरकार करिसेंती। फ्रांस रे 2 पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज दे हैव फॉर्म्ड द कोआलिशन गवर्नमेंट। इन जर्मनी देयर आर आल्सो 4 पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज। इन इटली आल्सो देयर आर 4 पार्टीज। नॉर्वे 3 पार्टीज। स्वीडन 3 political parties. In Spain also 2 political parties, and in Bangladesh as many as 5 political parties they have formed the coalition, and in Japan 2 political parties. Of course, the Liberal Democratic Party is a dominant party, but it has formed the government with the help of other another political party. So, here I want to explain that it is a worldwide phenomenon, it is a universal phenomenon, it is not limited or confined to India only. ତେଣୁ ବିଭିନ୍ନ ଦେଶରେ ମିଳିତ ସରକାର ବା ମିଳିତ ରାଜନୀତି ଆମେ ଦେଖିବାକୁ ପାଉଛେ. So, let us try to analyze what are the basic implications or basic nature or feature of coalition politics. ତେଣୁ ଯେଉଁ ମିଳିତ ବା ମେଣ୍ଟ ରାଜନୀତିର ସବୁ ବିଭିନ୍ନ ତାର ପ୍ରକୃତି କ'ଣ ବା ବୈଶିଷ୍ଟ୍ୟ କ'ଣ ସେ ବିଷୟରେ ଆମେ ଆଲୋକପାତ କରିବା. So, first thing you must remember that coalitions require the presence of two or more than two parties. So, first condition in order to form a coalition government is there must be two or more than two political parties. ତେଣୁ ଦୁଇରୁ କିମ୍ବା ଦୁଇରୁ ଅଧିକ ଦଳ ହେଲେ ଯାଇକରି ଏଠି କୋଆଲିସନ୍ ସମ୍ଭବ. ଯେମିତି ଆମେ କହୁଛେ ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଖେଳିବା ତାହେଲେ କାହା ସହିତ ଖେଳିବା, ଏକୁଟିଆ ତ ଖେଳିବାନି, କାହା ସହିତ ଖେଳିବା. ତେଣୁ if coalition is a game, it involves two or more than two players. So, these two or more than two players they play the game, that game is known as coalition game or game of coalition, or in technical terms we call it coalition politics. So, first thing is two or more parties are required. Second thing regarding coalition is that the desire for coalition is mainly material or psychic gratification rather than serving the people. So, what is the motive of coalition? जो माने हाथ मिलैकरी परस्पर मध्य मिलित सरकार गठन करनी तांकर मुख्य उद्देश्य कौन थाए, कौन पाई से एकत्र होता तांकर मुख्य उद्देश्य होउची जे मटेरियल और साइकिक ग्रेटिफिकेशन किछि पाइबा पई, किछि मटेरियल माने टंका पैसा हो किंबा पदवी हो, मंत्री पद हो किंबा निज मन को संतोष देवा पई हो, से माने एकत्र होइतांती. आउ ता अर्थ नुह जे से माने देश बा लोकंकर सेवा करिया को एकत्र होइतांती. हुए तो बाहर को से माने शो करिवे जे देश को सेवा करिया को बा लोकंकर सेवा करिया हम एकत्र होइछु, किंतु प्रकृत उद्देश्य कोन थिबो? प्रकृत उद्देश्य थिबो केमिति से माने कोनोसी निर्दिष्ट पदवी पाइबे बा टंका पैसा पाइबे कि कोनोसी मानसिक संतोष लाभ करिवे. So, the basic objective is to get material or psychic gratification rather than serving the people. That is the second thing regarding the nature of coalition. Thirdly, coalition politics is dynamic, not static. Coalition politics is dynamic, ता अर्थ है यह परिवर्तनशील, यह केवल स्थिर रहे ना. So, nothing is constant in politics, you must know. Politics is purely dynamic. जहाँ आज राजनीति अच्छी से काली सेटा परिवर्तनशील. सेमती मेंट राजनीति मध्य परिवर्तनशील. आज किछि दल मेंट होकर गठन कर सरकार करचंती, सेतरु किछि बाद पळेबे, फेर नुआ दल आसीबे, सेमती चली थाए एटा. सेमती फॉर एग्जांपल टुडे वी हैव आल्सो ए कोalition politics at the center led by NDA. So, Narendra Modi is leading a coalition government at the center known as NDA or National Democratic Alliance. So, in that NDA you must remember that once upon a time Telugu Desam party was a prominent member. In 2014, before 2014 it was a prominent member and it left the coalition, and in that place Janata Dal United got the entry. तेणु तेलुगु देशम पार्टी बाहरी गला, ता जगह आसीगला कि ना जनता दल यूनाइटेड. सेमती एबे किछि दिन तले मन थिबो शिवसेना, ए वर्ष तले शिवसेना लेफ्ट आउट ऑफ द एनडीए. पुणी एबे जस्ट मासे डेढ़ मास तले रिगार्डिंग फार्म बिल, opposing the farm bill, the Shiromani Akali Dal also left out of the NDA. So, this process continues. So, this is purely a dynamic, it is never a static process. And the fourth important nature of coalition is coalitions are temporary in nature. Coalitions are never going to be permanent feature in any political system. It is temporary because coalitions occur only when no political party gets majority in the lower house, or after the election if there is a hung parliament, then coalitions are only possibility. So, therefore, it is only a temporary feature, because you must remember that since 1952 till 1977 India had never experienced any coalitions, because there was one party dominance. Coalitions became a necessity only when there was a decline of the Congress and rise of regional parties. So, a day will also come when one party will rule the country and coalitions will disappear. So, therefore, you can say coalitions are purely temporary. Now, fifthly, another feature or another nature of the coalition is coalitions are marked with high degree of flexibility. compromise and consensus are key to coalition functioning. So, there is a high degree of flexibility in the functioning of the coalition. तेणु जो मिलित सरकार हुए से बहुत परिमाण रे नमनीयता परिलक्षित होता है जदि ये अनमनीयता देखा ताहले कोआलिशन बेसी दिन लास्टिंग करिबो नाही आउ नमनीयता अणाजिबो केमती नमनीयता अणा जाय परिबो बिकॉज ऑफ कंप्रोमाइज एंड कंसेंसस किछि बुझामणा किछि सहमति भितरे ही हमर ता भितरे नमनीयता अणा जाय परिबो सो you know that in 1998 BJP formed a coalition which was named as NDA coalition under the leadership of Atal Bihari Vajpayee. But when other political parties, as many as 18 political parties, they joined hands with the BJP to form the coalition known as NDA, they opposed BJP's parent ideology, and BJP's parent ideology involved Ram Mandir, Article 370 regarding Jammu and Kashmir, and also Uniform Civil Code. And what the BJP did? BJP struck a compromise and BJP agreed to the principle that these are BJP's ideologies, but this is not NDA's ideology. That means BJP dropped its own parent ideologies so that the coalition can function properly. Therefore, there is a lot of compromise and consensus within a coalition so that the coalition can survive. Then sixthly, another feature of coalition is coalitions work on the basis of common minimum program. So, common minimum program होची सर्वनिम्न कार्यसूची अर्थ होची जेहेतु विभिन्न दल मिसिकिरी एठी सरकार गठन करुछन्ति विभिन्न दलंकर भिन्न भिन्न आदर्श रहिछि तेणु से भिन्न भिन्न आदर्श मध्यरे केमिति कॉमन फार्मूला बाहर करा जाइबो केमिति जो कंटेंशियस इश्यू गुडाक रही से इश्यू गुडी को बाद दिया जाएगी जो गुडाक समस्त एक्सेप्ट करेंगे से इश्यू गुडी को रखा कह कॉमन मिनिमम प्रोग्राम. सो इन एवरी कोअलिशन यू विल फाइंड देयर इज ए कॉमन एजेंडा और कॉमन मिनिमम प्रोग्राम ऑन व्हिच कोअलिशन गवर्नमेंट वर्क्स. देन अनदर फीचर ऑफ कोअलिशन इज कोअलिशंस आर बेस्ड ऑन the ideology of convenience rather than on commitment. That is very important to note. That coalitions, what is the basic ethics of coalition? Coalitions work on the basis of or the ideology of convenience. एटी सुविधा देखा जाए जो मिलित सरकार रे सबले सुविधा देखा जाए एटी कमिटमेंट बा प्रतिबद्धता देखा जाए नहीं. So no political party is committed to its ideology. No political party is committed to what it has promised to the voters. Rather the political party acts as per convenience. सुविधा पे से एठी समस्ते जोग दे थांते एठी आ कोनोसी प्रतिबद्धता न थाए. And lastly another nature of coalition is coalitions are inherently unstable. प्रकृत पक्षे देखिया गले हमर मिलित सरकार बा मिलित राजनीति होउची अस्थिर. So it is inherently unstable because the instability as a phenomenon is within the nature of the coalition. The moment a coalition is formed, you cannot give a guarantee that it will continue for 5 years. At any time it can break up. So this break up nature of coalition before time or untimely or premature dissolution of coalition is a regular phenomenon. As I have already given you in that slide that we had got 6 prime ministers in a span of 9 years. So therefore coalitions are inherently unstable. So these are the basic things regarding the nature or you can say the implications of coalition politics. Now let us have a just a small analysis regarding this theories of coalition. So coalition बा जो हमरो मिलित सरकार बा मिलित राजनीति रो कोन सब सिद्धांत रही को मतवाद बेसिस रे कोअलिशन गठन करा जाए. सो देयर आर टू ब्रॉड थ्योरीज रिगार्डिंग कोअलिशन पॉलिटिक्स. सो फर्स्ट इज द पावर मैक्सिमाइजेशन थ्योरी. सो पावर मैक्सिमाइजेशन थ्योरी सेज दैट कोअलिशंस आर फॉर्म्ड as a matter of strategy or game only to win the election, only to seat sharing or bargaining or only to realize the goal of pragmatism. So here ideology is not important. Under coalitions, political parties join hands with each other so that they can score points over each other or they can get a collective point scored over the opponent. So they have got a collective opponent over which they want to score their points. So the basic objective is to win the election, to share the seats and to strike out a bargaining strategy. So, pragmatism is important under every coalition because each and every political party wants to maximize their power. तेणु जो मैंने कोआलिशन बा मंत्रिमंडल मिलित सरकार गठन करता मुख्य उद्देश्य है से मैंने केमती क्षमतार रहिबे आ क्षमता को बढ़े चलिए कहीं क्षमतार थे बाहरी गले से कहीं पचारे ना से मुख्य उद्देश्य. सेकेंड थ्योरी हूँ कौन? सेकेंड थ्योरी रिगार्डिंग कोआलिशन इज द पॉलिसी और आइडियोलॉजी बेस्ड थ्योरी. पॉलिसी और आइडियोलॉजी बेस्ड theory. So, this policy or ideology based theory says that coalitions are formed only because similar ideological based parties they join hands with each other and form the government. So, if A, B, C, D they are the partners in a coalition, they have joined together only because they have got a similar ideology. So, this ideology is a bond that attract other political parties because they have a similar ideology. So, on that basis there can be different types of coalitions. So, first is centered unipolar coalition. जो मैट्रिक्स टा मुझे देख स्लाइड रे जे ए मैट्रिक्स ए रे देख जे लिखा है जे सी फॉर द कोalition. So, here centered unipolar coalition means parties having similar ideology they are attracted towards each other and form the coalition. So, arrow mark indicates attraction. So, they are attracted towards each other to form the coalition that is depicted in matrix A. So, if you go to matrix B you will find off center unipolar coalition. Off center unipolar coalition means here one political party is interested to form the coalition, but another political party is bit less interested. So, therefore, a small arrow mark is there. So, one pole is strong, but the other pole is not that interested, but it has no other way out, but it wants to join the government, but reluctantly. Then if you go to the third matrix C stands for bipolar coalition. So, bipolar coalition is a typical case under which there are two poles and these two poles they distract each other. That means there is hardly any ideological similarity, but they are under one banner because no government can be formed without them. So, ideological dissimilarities. So, if you remember before 3 years there was a coalition government in Jammu and Kashmir, and that coalition government was between BJP and PDP, People's Democratic Party in Jammu and Kashmir. So, BJP and PDP if you compare their ideologies they are diametrically opposite, but they formed the government because no one government has to be formed to serve the people. So, they formed the government. Later on that government also collapsed, you know that, and even article 370 has also put in the dustbin. So, this BJP PDP coalition before 3 years, that was the perfect example of a bipolar coalition under which there is a lot of disagreement, but they form the government only to serve the people. And lastly, there is a multipolar coalition which is depicted in matrix D, and that multipolar coalition is a very impossibility because there are different poles and very difficult for each pole to come to an agreement with another pole, so that a coalition can be formed, but that can only be formed in case of a national crisis or a war like situation. केवल युद्ध कि कौन से एक अस्वाभाविक परिस्थिति बा संकट समय ही ये नंबर डी टा कार्यकारी हुए जोटा कि आम कहे मल्टीपोलर कोआलिशन. सो हियर वी हैव डिस्कस्ड अबाउट दिस टू इम्पोर्टेंट थ्योरीज रिगार्डिंग कोआलिशन फॉर्मेशन, पावर मैक्सिमाइजेशन थ्योरी एंड पॉलिसी और आइडियोलॉजी बेस्ड थ्योरी. Now, let us move forward to the kinds of coalition formation. कोआलिशन बा मिलित सरकार आम देखुचे खाली जानिले हेनी आम तार विभिन्न केते प्रकार रूप अच्छी ता भी जानिया पड़ो जे केते प्रकार आमर कोआलिशन बा मिलित मेंट सरकार हो पार. सो फर्स्ट देयर कैन बी 4 important typologies of coalition government or coalition politics. First is pre-poll and post-poll coalition. Pre-poll means before election, post-poll means after election. It is very simple. Election by निर्वाचन जदि आगुरु किछि मेंट गठन होता है ताको हम क्या प्री पोल, जदि निर्वाचन पर मेंट गठन कराई ताको या पोस्ट पोल. सो इन इंडिया देयर इज ए फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ ओनली पोस्ट पोल कोalitions. There is hardly any pre poll coalition. But if you go to Kerala, there is one coalition front known as LDF, another front is UDF. LDF stands for Left Democratic Front, UDF stands for United Democratic Front. So, these two fronts they contest the election and they exchange power with each other after every 5 years, that is a pattern in Kerala politics. So, this LDF or UDF they are the coalitions which are formed before the election, but all other coalitions you will find they are formed after the elections. तेणु बहुत जो मेंट गुड़िक से इलेक्शन पर गठन कराई था कहीं से कौन सी पार्टी रिस्क ना चाहती जे आगुरी कार्डटा खेलवाई से इलेक्शन पर सुविधा देखी केमती पावर एंजॉय करा जाई परिवो से अनुसार से माने कोआलिशन करि थांती. Second category is majority and minority coalition. So, what is majority coalition? Majority coalition is one in which the political parties who join hands with each other to form the coalition they command majority in Lok Sabha. तेणु जो लोकसभा रे जो दल गुड़ी एकत्र होकर कोआलिशन गठन कले मेंट गठन कले से मिलित भाव में लोकसभा संख्यागरिष्ठता रही. सो व्हेन Atal Bihari Vajpayee formed the coalition in 1998 or 1999 and continued for 5 years, or when say the Congress party under Dr. Manmohan Singh formed a coalition government in 2004 and continued up to 2014. So, these are all majority coalitions because the party had got the coalition partners had got absolute majority in Lok Sabha. But there is also minority coalition. So, what is minority coalition? Minority coalition means a coalition that runs the government without any commanding majority in Lok Sabha, but other parties they do not want to topple the government because of fear of early elections. तेणु ये एक व्यवस्था जो थे कि जो दलर बेसी संख्यागरिष्ठता नहीं से मिसिकी मेंट गठन कर मेंटर एत संख्यागरिष्ठता नहीं किंतु जो मैंने अपोजिशन अच्छा से साहस करना सरकार को हटेवाई कहीं ना हटेले देश में अस्थिरता देखा आउ पुणी थर निर्वाचन को देश ठेली ही जीव से तार बेस्ट एग्जांपल हूँ 1991 रु 1993 पर्यंत जिते आमर थे प्रधानमंत्री पीवी नरसिंह राव से जो सरकार गठन करते कांग्रेस नेतृत्व में से माइनॉरिटी कोआलिशन. So, minority coalition example है when PV Narasimha Rao formed the government from 1991 to 1993. But after 1993 other political parties joined hands with that coalition and that got majority. So, this is the second variety. Now come to the third variety of coalition, that is ideological coalition and governance coalition. So, ideological coalition माने जो मेंट कौन से आदर्श उपर प्रतिष्ठित कहवा आइडियोलॉजिकल आउ जो मेंट केवल सुविधा शासन उद्दिष्ट सेटा को आम कहवा गवर्नेंस कोआलिशन. सो ये एग्जांपल हूँ कौन जे जदि आम देखा केरल रे एलडीएफ और यूडीएफ. So, these are all ideological coalition because LDF believes in left ideology and UDF believes in the Congress ideology. If you put a glance at BJP and Shiv Sena, so earlier or now of course they are enemies, but in earlier years you will find that BJP and Shiv Sena they were friends, they were allies because they had got natural alliance on the basis of ideology, both believe in the same rightist ideology. So, when the political parties join hands with each other on the basis of ideology, we call it ideological coalition. But what is governance coalition? Governance coalition is one under which political parties join hands with each other only for the sake of enjoying power, for pragmatism and for opportunism. So, for opportunity to enjoy power, if political parties join hands with each other, it is known as governance coalition. The best example you can find that when PDP's Mehbooba Mufti, she joined hands with BJP and formed a coalition government which lasted for barely 1.5 years, after which it collapsed, and that was a perfect example of governance coalition. And today there is a governance coalition now in Maharashtra. In Maharashtra there is a coalition government known as Maharashtra that Agadi, Maharashtra Vikas Agadi. So, that Maharashtra Vikas Agadi is a coalition comprising of Shiv Sena and Congress and also Nationalist Congress Party. And if you compare these ideology of these three parties, they are diametrically opposite to each other. but they have still formed the coalition only to keep the BJP out of power. So, that is purely a governance coalition, not an ideological coalition. Now, lastly, let us come to the last variety, that is deficit or compulsive coalition and surplus or oversized coalition. So, coalitions can be deficit बा ताको हम कह कंपल्सिव बा बाध्य बाधकता तेणु बाध्य बाधकता बेसिस रे कोआलिशन हो पार ना डेफिसिट बा सरप्लस सरप्लस अर्थ बड़का कोआलिशन बा मेंट हो पार. सो डेफिसिट कोआलिशन इज वन व्हेन द पार्टीज हु जॉइन हैंड्स विथ ईच अदर दे जस्ट कमांड मेजॉरिटी इन लोकसभा and their combined strength gets the majority. Not a single party is able to command majority, that is known as deficit, because if one or two political parties they get out of the coalition, then suddenly the government will collapse. But what is surplus coalition? Surplus coalition is one in which a single political party has got majority on its own, but in spite of that it accommodates other political parties within its own fold, so that the government will get more and more legitimacy. तेणु जिते आम देखा जे अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जो 1998 जो सरकार गठन करते कोआलिशन गवर्नमेंट अंडर एनडीए, दैट वाज अ डेफिसिट कोआलिशन बिकॉज इट कंप्राइज्ड ऑफ एज मेनी एज 18 पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज. तेणु से 18 पार्टी भितर 18टा पार्टी जब गोटे पार्टी किए दल छाड़ी पलैला कोआलिशन ताले सरकार भांगी तेणु ताको आम कहते डेफिसिट कोआलिशन. किंतु बर्तमान जो मोदी सरकार अच्छी 2014 टू टिल डेट आज पर्यंत बीजेपी एकुटिया तार मेजोरिटी होची बर्तमान 303. 2002 मसीहा 2014 मसीहा यदि आम नवा ताले बीजेपी मेजोरिटी थिला 282, किंतु आमर लोकसभा मिनिमम मेजोरिटी 272. तेणु 272 रु बीजेपी सब 2014 मसीहा को कि 2019 मसीहा को सबुतरे बीजेपी संख्यागरिष्ठ रु अधिक रही. तेणु बीजेपी चाहिए एकुटिया सरकार करि था, किंतु तथापि बीजेपी ता सहित अन्य किछि दल को सांगरे नहीं सरकार करिथिला. ताले एटा होची एटा मध्ये गोटे कोआलिशन, एटा मध्ये गोटे मेंट सरकार, किंतु एटा डेफिसिट टाइप कंपल्सिव नो, दैट इज ओनली अ सरप्लस और यू कैन से ओवरसाइज्ड कोआलिशन. So you can say that deficit coalitions are short lived, but oversized coalitions are long lived. They have got a more longevity or more lifespan. Now let us come to basic theme, that is what is the experience of coalition in India. भारत रे coalition में मिलित सरकार कौन सबू एक्सपीरियंस रही अभिज्ञता रही केबेठू आरंभ है कौ पर्यटन चली से विषय खाली संक्षेप कहीदेवी. द फास्ट हूँ आम जो देखा इफ यू ट्रेस द हिस्ट्री ऑफ कोआलिशन इन इंडिया यू विल फाइंड दैट कोआलिशन स्टार्टेड as back as 1946 when the Britishers left the country and interim government was formed under the leadership of Nehru. So when Congress formed the interim government, immediately Jinnah's Muslim League, Muhammad Ali Jinnah's Muslim League also joined hands with the Congress and it shared power with the Congress. So this Congress and Muslim League they formed a coalition to form the interim government in 1946. Again in 1969 the Congress underwent a split and Congress O was formed. Congress रे गोटे विभाजन देखा 1969 रे इंदिरा गांधी लीडरशिप को चैलेंज करी कांग्रेस ओ गठन कराइला आमर मोरारजी देसाई आउ तांकर अन्य सहयोगी द्वारा. से इंदिरा गांधी बिकेम शी वाज सो नर्वस दैट शी हैड टू फॉर्ज ए कोआलिशन टू गेट द सपोर्ट फ्रॉम डीएमके एंड कम्युनिस्ट पार्टीज. सेमती आम देखा कोआलिशन मिलित सरकार आमर विधिवत भाव आरंभ है जनता पार्टी समय. इन 1977 when the Congress lost power at the center, the Janata Party was formed and it won the election, and the Janata Party was nothing but a conglomeration of different political parties like India National Lok Dal, like the Bharatiya Janasangh, so Swatantra Party. So few parties they join hands with each other and form the coalition with the support of the DMK and other political parties. So it was a Janata experiment under the leadership of Morarji Desai, which continued, and later on the government could not last long. After 2 years the government collapsed, and after that with the Congress support Chaudhary Charan Singh became the prime minister and he also led the coalition government. And you must remember that Chaudhary Charan Singh was the only prime minister in the history of India who never faced parliament, who never sought a confidence vote in parliament, but continued in power for nearly 6 months. Then the National Front government was formed in 1989. So, after the Congress was defeated in 1989 election, VP Singh came to power because he formed a broad coalition with a banner known as National Front. So, National Front बा जातीय सामुख्य सरकार गठन है 1989 रे VP सिंह नेतृत्व में, किंतु से सरकार भी बेस दिन तिष्टिला ना कहीं भितर मत विवाद देखागला VP सिंह और चंद्रशेखर भितर. So, there is a split in the Janata Dal, and Chandrasekhar with his 64 MPs they formed a new political party known as Janata Dal Secular, and with Congress support Chandrasekhar became the Prime Minister and he continued for barely 6 months. तेणु ये भाव में नेशनल फ्रंट गवर्नमेंट 1989 ରୁ 90 पुणी 90 ରୁ 91 पर्यंत चलला. तापर आम देखिले जे 1991 जो इलेक्शन है से कांग्रेस केम टू पावर अंडर द लीडरशिप ऑफ पीवी नरसिंह राव, बट पीवी नरसिंह राव गवर्नमेंट डिडंट हैव एब्सोल्यूट मेजॉरिटी इन लोकसभा and it was a minority coalition government under PV Narasimha Rao from 1991 to 1993. But after 1993, few other political parties they joined hands like Jharkhand Mukti Morcha and others, they joined hands with the Congress. Now, after that in 1996, the United Front government was formed because in 1996 the BJP got 161 seats in Lok Sabha, but BJP could not form the government and Vajpayee's government could last only for 13 days. And to avoid further election, the non-BJP and non-Congress parties they formed a coalition known as United Front. United Front is the name of a coalition, and they selected the then Chief Minister of Karnataka. His name was H.D. Devegowda. So, H.D. Devegowda was brought from Karnataka and he was sworn in as the Prime Minister of India, but soon after that coalition government collapsed because of internal conflicts, and later on the Congress which was giving outside support to H.D. Devegowda's government, Congress also levied certain allegations. So, Devegowda is replaced by another person who was the External Affairs Minister at that time. His name was I.K. Gujral. So, I.K. Gujral became the Prime Minister and he continued for barely 6 months. Then came the NDA under Vajpayee in 1998. So, Vajpayee BJP under the leadership of Vajpayee formed a coalition under the banner of NDA, National Democratic Alliance, and it formed its own manifesto, common minimum program, which comprised as many as 18 political parties like Telugu Desam Party, like DMK, like Assam Gana Parishad, Shiv Sena. So, a lot other political parties joined hands and a coalition was formed, and which lasted for 1999. So, after 1999 it lasted for 2004. So, after 2004 the UPA government was formed under the leadership of Manmohan Singh. Dr. Manmohan Singh led the Congress, but that Congress was a minority Congress. It required the support of other political parties. So, which political parties came under the UPA banner? So, parties like All India Anna DMK, then parties in the south, the TRS in Telangana. So, small parties they joined hands with the Congress and UP was formed and it enjoyed power for nearly a decade, that is from 2004 to 2014. So, what happened after 2014? So, after 2014 with a lot of corruption and scandals under the UPA government, BJP scored the opponent and also came victorious, and the NDA enjoyed power under Modi from 2014 to till date. And as I told you that coalition since 2014 is known as a surplus coalition. It is an oversized coalition, it is not a compulsive coalition. So, this is the story of the coalitions at the center. So, if you look at the states, you will find that coalition as a phenomenon, it started in many states since 1967 onwards, because in 1967 the Congress party lost many states, and in those states non-Congress parties were formed, particularly the regional parties were formed and they formed coalition governments. So, the first experience of state level coalition was West Bengal. In West Bengal, the Communist Party formed a coalition known as this Left Democratic Alliance. So, the Left Democratic Alliance in West Bengal, it enjoyed power for as many as 34 years from 1977 till 2011 it enjoyed power, and the same experience was found in Kerala also, and in many states you will find, including Odisha. In Odisha also we had a coalition between the Swatantra and Jana Congress. So such coalitions were found in many states. So it is very difficult to call all the states. So therefore I am winding it by giving a brief analysis. Now let us come to what are the factors behind coalition. So why coalitions are formed? So there are different factors responsible for the coalition formation. कौन कौन कारण सब दायी कोआलिशन बा मिलित बा मेंट सरकार गठन पे? फास्ट होची मल्टी पार्टी सिस्टम बा बहुदलीय व्यवस्था, जोटा कही आगुरी जे whenever you say multi party system, there is always 99% probability that there must be a coalition government, because it is very difficult for one political party to get the majority. Second important factor is decline of the Congress. Congress रो पतन मु तुम कही जे 1967 परठू particularly 1977 परठू देखिबा आउ more recently since 1989 onwards you will find there has been a downfall of the Congress party, and the loss of the Congress initially was the gain of the regional parties, but now the loss of the Congress is directly the gain of the BJP. So in that situation the dominance of the Congress has become a fertile ground. The dominance of the Congress proved the other political parties that they do not have any existence in Indian politics. But with the decline of the Congress, other political parties grew and coalitions became a possibility at the center. The third factor is the growth of regional parties. आंचलिक दल मानकर अभ्युदय मु कहली जे 1967 परठू भारत में आंचलिक दल मानकर अभ्युदय है। आ आंचलिक दल माने जो बढ़िया को लगे व्हेन दे ग्रू अप दे वांटेड टू प्ले फॉर्मेशन गवर्नमेंट फॉर्मेशन रोल एट द सेंटर, देयरफॉर coalitions became a possibility with the direct support of the regional parties. Then fourth reason is, or fourth factor is the fractured mandate, विक्षिप्त जनमत. So in India if you analyze the voting behavior of the people, so people they are not voting, concentrating their vote on a single political party, rather they are casting their vote to different political parties as per their different considerations. So the result is a fractured mandate. So in that fractured mandate conditionality, no political party is in a position to get majority in Lok Sabha. तेणु जो विक्षिप्त जनमत लोक दौरान से कौन से एक निर्दिष्ट दल पक्षर संभव नुह जे सरकार गठन कर, तेणु बाध्य होकरी मिलित सरकार गठन करा जाउछि. आ फिफ्थ इंपोर्टेंट रीजन है जे डीलिंकिंग ऑफ लोकसभा एंड असेंबली इलेक्शंस. सो डीलिंकिंग अर्थ लोकसभा निर्वाचन आउ राज्य रे असेंबली निर्वाचन पृथक पृथक हवा ताको डीलिंकिंग बोली कहुछि. जब सिंस 1971 तो मार्क करथिबो जे भारत में 1952 रु इलेक्शन आरंभ है, किंतु 1971 रे जो इलेक्शन है से मिड टर्म इलेक्शन है 1971 रे. सो इन दैट आफ्टर दैट मिड टर्म इलेक्शन दी लोकसभा इलेक्शन एंड असेंबली इलेक्शंस वर सेपरेटेड. तेणु देखुथिबो जे लोकसभा इलेक्शन आमर मे मसरे एबे हेतला 2019 मसिया रे, किंतु बहुत राज्य रे वर्तमान इलेक्शन एबे रिसेंटली बिहार रे इलेक्शन चलीची, आउ किछि 2 वर्ष तले उत्तर प्रदेश इलेक्शन होता, तापरे झारखंड रहा. तेणु लिंक आउ कटिगला 71 मसीहा परठू जो निर्वाचन एका संगे होता से निर्वाचन अलग अलग समय होउची. ताले या द्वारा कौन होउची, जो दल माने स्टेट भितर परस्पर भितर विरुद्ध होते से माने सेंटर रे मध्य हाथ मिलिया को कुंठाबोध करूना, कहीं ना ये लोकों को से उत्तरदायी हवा दरकार ना, बिकॉज द इलेक्शंस आर हेल्ड इन डिफरेंट रेगुलर इंटरवल्स. सो हियर political parties may fight in the state, they may confront each other in the state, but at the center they may join hands with each other. Best example गोटे मुझे कहबी जे जदि आम वेस्ट बेंगल को जीवा, वेस्ट बेंगल रे तृणमूल कांग्रेस आउ कांग्रेस पार्टी उभय परस्पर मध्य शत्रुता, उभयंकर परस्पर मध्य से प्रतियोगिता कर, किंतु जब सेंटर को जीवा दिल्ली रे परस्पर हाथ मिलकर से चलते कहीं ना वेस्ट बेंगल जो इलेक्शन होउची दिल्ली रे से इलेक्शन होना बा दिल्ली को लोकसभा इलेक्शन होना, जदि एका बेले होता से एमती करि न था. सो डीलिंकिंग ऑफ लोकसभा एंड असेंबली इलेक्शन इज ऑल्सो अनदर मेजर फैक्टर रेस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ कोalition. एंड लास्टली अनदर फैक्टर इज द इलेक्टोरल सिस्टम इटसेल्फ. जो भारत में जो निर्वाचन व्यवस्था रही जोटा आम कहे फास्ट पास द पोस्ट सिस्टम बा ताको मेजोरिटी सिस्टम बोली कहुए. फास्ट पास द पोस्ट सिस्टम मीन्स in a constituency there are many candidates, but the candidate who is declared as winner, he gets the maximum votes, that is known as तुमको गोटे जगार 10 जन कैंडिडेट अच्छा 10 जन कैंडिडेट रु जदि गोटे कैंडिडेट 20% भोट पाइला अन्य कैंडिडेट माने 19% कि 18% तलु तलु पाइले ताले किए जीतिला जे 20% पाइछि जीतिला ता कह जाओ फास्ट पास द पोस्ट सिस्टम। ताले एही सिस्टम रे कोन होउची ना अंडर दिस फास्ट पास द पोस्ट सिस्टम जने रिनाउंड पॉलिटिकल साइंटिस्ट फ्रेंच पॉलिटिकल साइंटिस्ट हिज नेम वाज मॉरिस डुवर्गर। सो मॉरिस डुवर्गर ही गेव ए law ताकू कहा जाए डुवर्गर्स लॉ। सो डुवर्गर्स लॉ स्टेट्स that in a multi-party single majority system, in a multi-party simple majority system, the smaller parties they will either eliminate or they will fuse with the larger parties। तेणु जो बहु छोट छोट दल देखा जाए से माने धीरे धीरे कौन है ना इलेक्शन रु ओहरी आसबे हो ना से माने बड़ दल सहित मिसीजे हो ताले ये मिश्रण प्रक्रिया जो आसो आम कह कोआलिशन सिस्टम। सो दिस डुवर्गर्स लॉ is also another explanation of why coalitions occur in India regularly or why it has become a regular phenomenon in India. So these are the factors responsible for the formation of coalitions. Now let us have an analysis on the impact of coalition. What are the positive impact? Coalition बा मिलित सरकार मिलित राजनीति रे कोन भलो आमे पाउचे भलो गुण। So positive impact of coalition, they are very impressive because it is said that this is the age of coalition, this is the era of coalition, it is often said. So it has got justifications कौन पाए coalition को आम सपोर्ट करिया। फर्स्ट होची coalitions reflect societal diversity। भारत रे जो विभिन्नता रही ताकू प्रकृत रे यदि कोनसी व्यवस्था प्रतिफलित करिवो सेटा हला coalition बा मिलित सरकार। कारण भारत रे एभली एक विभिन्नतार देश जोठी कोनसी गोटिए दल शासन करूची ताले संबु आडू को सेटा जस्टिस देई परिबो नाही। So first is it reflects societal diversity. Second is coalitions representative in nature, they are representative in nature because if a coalition is formed, each and every part of the country, each and every political party gets a chance to be represented in the government, that will carry more and more legitimacy to the government. Third होची the coalitions also create consensus politics बा coalition बा मिलित सरकार द्वारा आमर सहमति भित्तिक राजनीति सृष्टि होता है। हियर देयर इज नो स्कोप फॉर पॉलिटिक्स ऑफ आर्बिट्रेरीनेस, देयर इज स्कोप फॉर पॉलिटिक्स ऑफ कंसेंसस, सहमति भितर सब निष्पत्ति निया जाता है। फोर्थ होची कोआलिशंस आर अकोमोडेटिव ऑफ माइनॉरिटी पॉलिटिकल इंटरेस्ट। जो छोट छोट दल अच्छी समस्तंकर इंटरेस्ट भी इंपोर्टेंट, समस्त स्वार्थ होची इंपोर्टेंट, से स्वार्थ गुड़े को भाया व्यवस्था रे स्थान पाई परिबो ना से केवल कोआलिशन बा मिलित सरकार स्थान पाई परिबो। एंड लास्ट इंपोर्टेंट मेरिट ऑफ कोआलिशन इज कोआलिशन हैव ए पॉजिटिव इम्पैक्ट ऑन फेडरलिज्म। भारत जो संघीय ढांचा अच्छी से संघीय ढांचा कोआलिशन होची तार बहुत आस्तिवाचक स्वरूप रही। केमिति ना इंडियन फेडरलिज्म हैज बिकम कोऑपरेटिव फेडरलिज्म ओनली बिकॉज ऑफ कोआलिशंस। सो बी इट द अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ गवर्नर, बी इट स्टेट ऑटोनॉमी, इट इज ओनली बिकॉज ऑफ कोआलिशन पॉलिटिक्स। Now having said that, we should not be ignorant of the negative factors. So what are the negative factors? Coalitions are not a blessing, rather they are a curse. तेणु आशीर्वाद परिवर्ते गोटे भारत पे एक अभिशाप हुए कहीं ना किसी तार बदगुण रही कौन ना फास्ट हो कोआलिशंस क्रिएट पॉलिटिकल इंस्टेबिलिटी, राजनीतिक अस्थिरता ये सृष्टि होता है। सेकेंड हूँ डिले इन डिसीजन मेकिंग। तेणु जेहेतु बहुत गुड़ा पार्टी रही दल रही निष्पत्ति केमती निष्पत्ति ना सब दल को पचारा बेलू निष्पत्ति ना डेरी हम। सो देयर इज डिले इन डिसीजन मेकिंग। थर्ड हूँ अपॉर्चुनिस्टिक पॉलिटिक्स, सुविधावादी राजनीति। मुझे जे कोआलिशन पार्टनर्स माने मुख्य उद्देश्य देश लोक सेवा करार नुह, मुख्य उद्देश्य हूँ केमती पावर एंजॉय करिया। सो इट इज बेस्ड ऑन pragmatism or opportunism. Then fourthly, coalitions they serve only short term interest, अल्प माने short term long run interest को न देखी माने they are more interested in short term gain. And fifthly, corruption and misgovernance, कुशासन आउ भ्रष्टाचार ये सब कोआलिशन गवर्नमेंट देखा पड़े। जो स्लाइड रे देखुथे जे डी राजा बोली जने मंत्री थिले हमर यूपीए 2 अंडर मनमोहन सिंह, and he was instrumental in that telecom scam, 3G scam. So Manmohan Singh government became infamous only because of corruption and scandals, and he led a coalition government. And apart from that, there are also other defects. Other defects include the Prime Minister's position is compromised. I mean, India is a parliamentary system where Prime Minister holds a very important position, but here the Prime Minister becomes weak. Prime Minister is blackmailed by small political parties who give support to the coalition. जो वाजपेयी प्रधानमंत्री थे ब्लैकमेल करते जयललिता कि चंद्रबाबू नायडू, जो डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह प्रधानमंत्री रहे डीएमके भी ब्लैकमेल कला। प्रधानमंत्री डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह श्रीलंका जावाक बाहर थे किंतु श्रीलंका गस्त बंद कर दिगला कहीं डीएमके अपोज कला। ये भाव में प्राइम मिनिस्टर पोजिशन भी कंप्रोमाइज करा जाए एंड इट गिव्स राइज टू वीक एंड इनइफेक्टिव गवर्नमेंट। एक दुर्बल और अपारग सरकार ये आम देखा मिले। आउ अनदर डिफेक्ट इज अनफेयर रिसोर्स डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन। रिसोर्स डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन देशर जो संपत्ति विभाजन बंटन सेटा ठीक भाव न होकर अनफेयर वे रे होता है। जो राज्य दोज पार्टीज हु कमांड मोर मेजोरिटी दे वांट टू गेट मोर रिसोर्सेस। एंड लास्टली द रेडिकल चेंज केप्ट ऑन होल्ड। सो कोalitions दे कैनॉट टेक रेडिकल डिसीजन। जो डिमोनेटाइजेशन हो, जीएसटी हो कि बालाकोट स्ट्राइक हो, सो ये जो रेडिकल स्टेप रेडिकल डिसीजन हो कोalition गवर्नमेंट्स कैनॉट टेक। ओनली सिंगल पार्टी मेजोरिटी गवर्नमेंट कैन टेक। सो दीज आर द डिफेक्ट्स ऑफ कोalition। लेट अस have a bird's eye view on how to strengthen coalition. So if coalitions become a necessity, if coalitions cannot be avoided, how to make them more effective. So पांचटा स्टेप मुझे खाली कहीदे। फास्ट हूँ coalition should be based on positive agenda. Positive agenda means here under coalition you should not form a coalition only to keep other parties away from enjoying power. So first हूँ positive agenda. Second हूँ coalition should be headed by relatively large political party. कोalition पार्टनर गुड़िक भितर सब जोटा बड़ दल थी से दल ही कोalition नेतृत्व नेले भल। थर्ड हूँ ऑल पार्टनर शुड जॉइन द गवर्नमेंट। तेणु ये आउटसाइड सपोर्ट जदि किए देला ताहले एटा डेंजरस। सो ऑल पार्टनर शुड जॉइन द गवर्नमेंट। फोर्थ हूँ द स्टीयरिंग कोऑर्डिनेशन कमिटी मीटिंग शुड बी हेल्ड रेगुलरली टू सॉल्व डिफरेंसेस। तांको भितर जो विवाद देखाई से विवाद गुड़ा समाधान करने को स्टीयरिंग कमिटी बा कोऑर्डिनेशन कमिटी रेगुलरली बैठक डका उचित। And lastly होची there must be a common minimum program to on the basis of national interest to be formulated. common minimum सर्वनिम्न कार्यसूची निहाती होबा उचित जद्वारा कि coalition ठीक भाव काम करि पारियो। So this is how we have covered the chapter on coalition politics in India. Under this chapter I explained you the meaning and nature of coalition, the factors responsible for coalition, the theories and also types of coalition, and our experience of coalition politics since 1952 till date. And lastly I also suggested how to strengthen the coalition. So this is how we have completed the chapter on coalition politics, and thank you for watching this video. Have a good day.